We're back inside Elias Loft, and we're inside Elias Loft. We prepare to do another episode of When Black Men Talk. I'm Mark Elliott, your host. Always happy that you can join us and come on in and spend some time with us inside Elias Loft. Here's a gentleman that was on a little while ago, and ever since he's been on, I've been thinking of a way trying to get him back. But I've been paying attention to what he's been doing over the period of time that he's not been on, and I just had to give him this title for the most part. And I watched him and his son how they grow. They've been doing so many different things. And not only his son, he does a lot of variety of things with other gentlemen. So I give this cat the name of Ultimate Dad. Ultimate. And if you think that name may not be a little strange, by the end of this episode, you'll know exactly what I mean. I'm speaking of one Zac Martin. Zac, how are you?
I'm doing really good, man. It's hard to go wrong when you got an intro like that, right?
I'm telling you, man, you deserve it, man. You absolutely deserve it. Because, when you
Dude,
was on
thank
last
you,
time,
man.
you're more than welcome, man. You spoke of what you went through. We're going to touch base on that a little bit, just to basically be a dad to your son. But even beyond that, man, you kind of, I can't say kind of, you started an organization. You took that, you spun that into an organization. Kids deserve dads. I want to hear what's been going on with that, and then again, give us a refresher. Basically, what is Kids Deserve Dads?
Yeah. Oh man. Well, thanks. It's been really progressing differently over the last couple of years, and I like the trajectory we're going now, and so it's gonna be really exciting. But I started Kids Deserve Dads back in 2017, and it was as I was going through my custody battle to get to be my son's dad. I talked to a lot of my friends and a lot of guys that I knew in the community. I played softball, pool, volleyball. I sold real estate. And so my job was socializing, right? So I talked to people. And I really wanted to find out what they experienced. And everybody said the same thing. And I was like, this is just not right, man. All I want to do is be a dad, and all you guys want to do is be dads. And it's so incredibly difficult to be allowed to be a dad in our society. And so I started a support group, and I started doing activities for dads, and it's just led me down a huge path to be involved. But it's really about dads supporting dads, helping dads overcome the obstacles in their lives to live more fulfilled, satisfied, and joyful father experiences, and to leave a legacy, right? Like we want to leave something behind, something we can be proud of, and knowing that, I don't know, when I leave, I want to know that my son's prepared for whatever, and that my family's going to keep moving and be only better because of it.
Absolutely. It's interesting because we always hear a lot of support groups out there for different things, but not often support groups for dads. Realistically, when I think about it, I can't say I've heard many, if any at all, prior to meeting you. And when you started the group, basically, back in 2017, I think you said, were dads open to it, or were dads a little reluctant to kind of jump in and get support?
I had my conference room filled up from probably the first month on. Always, people sometimes were standing up in my conference room. And I had a small real estate company, so I had just started it and gotten it going. But I had my own conference room, and it was full. I had 8 or 10 seats at the table, and it was most weeks it was full. And dads want to come in and tell their stories and connect and kind of understand what the heck's going on and why they're feeling this way, and how they had this image of what society was and what they needed, and then just being fought to attempt to follow that path of what they say we're looking for and not wanting to have. And the whole system's designed to like push us towards being deadbeats. So
Yeah,
and I say more beat down than anything else. Beat down dads, right? I mean,
yeah.
just
I'm, when you
take the
think
fun
about
out
it,
of us.
you're right. When you think about it, it's really, crazy when you think about it, Zach, because it's like society as a whole do not understand, recognize, or respect the role of a dad. And I don't say that lightly. It's just amazing when you think about it that they really don't expect much from us other than provide monetary, for the most part, kind of keep our mouth shut and just go along with the routine. And it seemed like the fathers that really want to be involved, really want to make a difference and be a dad, for some reason, those are the ones that basically catch the brunt of the hardness. And the fathers that basically decide, for the most part, I'm not going to be in, I'm going to tune out, it's like they welcome that. I mean, to me, and that may sound strange to some people, but that is the harsh reality. I just want to get your opinion of that.
I completely agree with you on that. I think the problem is that judges hate doing it, and then all they do is see dads that show up, because it's not every dad, right? There's just some that show up, some that don't. And when you show up and make a big deal out of it, these judges don't enjoy doing this and they don't want to deal with it. And they're like, why don't you just shut up and go away like everybody else? And now you want to tell me how to, that you want to show up half the time and you don't want to pay child support and you want to, be involved. And it's just so much easier if you just take the bare minimum amount of time we give you and you take the child support and you don't make any complaints. And if you're going to keep coming in here and complaining, I'm just going to beat you down until you stop. And I'll make sure I, extract every bit of finances from you as possible to make this as painful as it gets. And I would have said that before this happened, but when I was in law school, my judge in my case, maybe a year after he came down with my decision for my son's case, sat there in the classroom and said that he goes out there and decides before the trial happens who the parent he likes and who the one he doesn't like, and then he punishes the other parent as hard as he can by the law.
Wow.
And I had my teacher and I had a discussion about it. I couldn't say anything during that class, but the next class is when I was able to talk to the class, and I talked for like 10 minutes about how unprofessional and why that guy is the problem we have with our society and the family courts.
And he's not alone. The big problem is he's not alone. And think about this for a second. He's a man. And
Yeah.
it's not, I'm trying to do a battle of the sexes, but you would think that a man judge would understand the value of a role a father plays in a son's life. And here he is playing pity pat basically off his emotions, what he like and he doesn't like, and decide how he's going to basically render the what's in front of him. I mean, that to me, it's hard to kind of fathom, but that is the reality because it's done
Yeah.
quietly, whether we know it or not. It's kind of done quietly, and it happens every single day. It's almost like it's an unwritten rule to where they look at the father should be punished for whatever reason. It's like maybe it's
Yeah.
written in some bylaw or somewhere to where the dad should be punished, and of course
Right.
lean to more. And I don't know. Basically, they came across a lot of bad dads, but still, even with that, doesn't make any sense. But it's not a fair, even. Not like a lot of things in life are fair, but it's not an even, close to being even courtroom when you step inside because just like his remarks, and I said earlier, he's not the only one thinking that way. You coming as a man, they're already putting you behind the eight ball and making you fight to basically come from out around the eight ball. And one thing they're not thinking about, when they're looking at us as males and trying to basically hammer us, what are you doing to the child? What are you absolutely doing to the child? They don't even think about the kid. In reality, they don't even consider the kid. They're looking more to basically hammer us and not thinking about the child at all.
They just want to hammer us and think about how much money they can use the child to extract from the custodial parent. So the first thing's a financial affidavit, and all they care about is how much can they get from you, and they use all that stuff about what's best for the kids and the system working for some kind of equity only as a ruse or a gaslighting to fleece somebody and extract funds and
Yeah.
give all their lawyer friends in the business, give the business the money. And I don't know of any studies, and I don't know if you do either. This is I'm just hypothetically thinking. I really believe, and I think if somebody did a study on this, I would be correct. You can tell me what you think, but if
Mm-hmm.
they did a study on the how many times, like, women get the cases 80% of the time, right? Women win 80%, guys win 20% ish. And if they did a study that said how many times the person who starts the case, that person is the one who actually wins the custody decision, I would bet that that is even maybe a higher number than that 80%. That might even be like a 90% number. So whoever actually is bringing the case to support the lawyers making the money and the system extracting as much from the family as possible, that person is rewarded through the custody courts because they are getting everybody in that's involved rich.
Yeah, I can see that. Who brings it first? But I still believe too. And a lot of times we don't bring it first. Let me say that. A lot of times men don't start. We don't initiate. And a lot of men basically too have the mentality that they're going to lose, so they don't even really attempt to kind of go in to basically fight for their rights when it comes to their child. But
Yeah.
I still have to say that I think it's heavily slanted on the mere fact that when she decides to do such or to take a stand, that they don't look at what's presented in front of them. They just don't. And it's you spoke of that when it pertains to that particular judge, and they can't be. In a lot of cases, it really can't. I know a few people that knew few guys in the state of Connecticut that got custody of their child, and I was shocked,
Yeah.
literally shocked that they got full custody. And to me in Connecticut, I could tell you this from my personal understanding: for a male to get full custody, the mom must be ratchet and something must be wrong with
Right?
her.
Isn't that? That is like,
Yes.
and I know I would say most of the time it is that, and it's just so unfortunate, and most people aren't that bad, right? Like we're all probably mediocre in our own rights and good in our own spaces, but that we're not Jesus, and we're not like heathens out there doing horrible stuff. We're somewhere in the middle, and and as long as you're not hurting anybody, I don't know why they don't make it so simple. And it's just really, I think, about taking that money. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, that just seems to be my experience. And then just other stuff I've gone through with attempting to be a lawyer and stuff led to that belief even more firmly entrenched. So I don't
Well,
know.
fatherhood itself at times, just like motherhood, can be tumultuous. It really can. But when you add on to where you feel like you're up against a wall that's not going to be fair and equitable, it kind of brings on even more heaviness. I want you to walk us through some of the journey that you had to go through just to become a dad, man. Just to basically instead of be a dad to your son.
Yeah, I think I was talking with the guy earlier today about it actually, and he was upset about having to do supervised visits and stuff. And I had to do 2 hours twice a week. I had him every day until he was 6 months old. We started this when my son was a baby. I had him every day, and then all of a sudden I didn't have him at all, and then I was just granted 2 hours twice a week for no good reason, except for he had to be breastfed or something at that point in time again. And it was one of those things where it was just one barrier in front of me after another. And so to go from 2 hours twice a week to finally getting some overnights and some weekends again. And then the ruling came out that I would get one whole week every month, which is great, except for if I can get one whole week, why can't I just do one whole week and then she does one whole week and go back and forth? Why do I do one whole week and she does three? But they never gave me a good answer to that or any answer to that. And then after that, she was allowed to move away on the day before his first birthday without me finding out. And so she moved to a new town 6 hours away, and I didn't have any say, so didn't know about it until the day it was happening. Like literally, I'm moving today, and this is where I'm moving to, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Hmm.
And so it was tough. And then I had to drive 6 hours, so I drove. She was supposed to meet me in the middle. She probably did 25% of the time, maybe meet me in the middle. So I usually end up driving the 6 hours up to pick him up, and 6 hours back home. We spend our week together every month until I moved up here 2.5 years ago.
It seemed like to me,
Yeah.
it seemed like to me at that time, it was basically things were being done to break you as a father for the most part, in a
Mm-hmm.
way to kind of get you to give up, look the other
Yeah.
way, Of course, be angry, be hurt. I mean, that's the primary reason. But for the most part, to get you to walk away, and if you would have chose to, you would have been looked upon as being no one would have paid attention to what she was doing. No one, in
Right.
the most part, would have looked at what she was doing. Everyone would have focused their attention primarily on you not being a responsible dad.
Yeah. Yeah. Walking away when it got hard.
Yes,
Not that she made it hard on purpose. The intention was to make it hard, to financially cripple me and make things a challenge. And I just wasn't going to give up, And so I she knew me from playing sports and stuff. She should have known that I don't give up on anything. And I had my heart set on being my son's dad. And, the judge who tried to stop me and her, and just the emotional anguish, the pain that I went through, knowing that how good of a dad I am and how committed I was to being a great dad and all the things I had to offer my son from the business that I had started and ran and everything else, that he was going to have such a great opportunity, and then to want to take that from him and value none of that except for how much money I can pay was just such a slap in the face at what it means to be a great man. And that's all you consider me for is a paycheck. And I mean, so many guys have so much more to offer than just the amount of money they can throw at something. Um, and yeah, and I don't think that's the way we should be doing stuff. And I think it's being shown through the results in our society for the last 50 years that taking dads away and just having to be paychecks and weekend warriors is not making a better society. It's making it worse.
absolutely. Yeah. I go back to what I said earlier about they don't really care about the downsides or the side effects of the child not having his dad in his life. It's like they don't care. It's like they rather roll the dice and damage the child, but at the same time, basically put a hurting on the male. You know, things did start to change, and I wonder, as things started to change, because we as men, we're here basically to be fathers. That's one of the primary reasons why we're born. That's one of the primary reasons why we are a male instead of a female. When we think about it, because God decided at some point you and I were going to be fathers, and that's why He allowed us to be here. But I want to take you here because when I met you the first time we talked, and then you and I have been in contact a little bit over the past year or so. And here again, just watching you do things with your son, how has that enriched your life as a man and a dad?
By doing these things with my son,
Yes, sir.
I think that, man, it has made me more focused, more imaginative, um, more joyful, and really more fulfilled. I'm the most fulfilled I've ever been. Even though I've been in some of the most pain I've been in since I've been a dad, and some of the most hurtful things I've ever experienced, um, all of it's like completely washes away as soon as I get to hang out with him and get to see him smile and get excited and learn something new. And just get to be in the experience of guiding him towards his future and building mine at the same time. Like doing things that we're doing that are new for me and new for him, and I get to learn them along with him, and a lot of times, often slightly before him, so I can help guide him in that direction. And it's really exciting. We were talking the other day about building our family crest. We have a family crest we drew on the wall that we look at and stuff, and it shows like a tree, and we have a lion, um, and we have a mountain, and we have like holding hands, and so we drew this crest, and I actually wanted to make one out of wood, and I have like zero woodworking skills, so I have no idea how
Hmm.
to do any of that stuff. Uh, but I was like, man, it's got to be possible, right? I just don't know what I'm doing, and I was gonna chisel it out. And my friends were like, you're never gonna do that, and I was like, I know, but that's the only way I know how to do it. We went to the store and they had a woodworking group there, and they have a computer program that actually cuts designs out of wood. She's like, if you press the wood, you can go to my shop and we could cut the pieces out. Like, I can throw a mountain in the thing and it'll give us a mountain and a lion and some holding hands. I can do all that stuff in this program, and we can actually cut into a shield your family crest. And I was like, holy smokes! So we were strategizing on our family crest this weekend on what kind of woods we use and stuff.
Hmm.
And I think that's so impactful to be a dad. And I don't think I ever would have thought about that legacy type experience like before him. And my last name is Martin, so like there is a legacy and there's a family crest, I'm sure, with the name Martin on it. I don't know what it is, and it doesn't have any meaning for me. But for my son and I to build this one, and for him and I to have a discussion about what those symbols mean to us, and get him to buy into it from the beginning, how powerful of an experience will that be for him when he has that family crest and he can explain every single one of the symbols we have, and why we have the mountain, and why there's the lion's head and the lighthouse. Like what did those things actually mean to him? And he can pass that on, and it can make a big change for the family going forward. So I'm excited about that. And I think just dreaming about how I can really lead from the front and show him the power he could have to make these things for himself going forward has been so powerful for me and supported me and really stepping into what's possible and how do I take this on to the highest level.
That's why you're the ultimate dad, Zach. Really, man. That's why I label you ultimate dad. I'm serious, man. I want to
Thank you,
do
man.
this. Oh, you're more than welcome. I want to go back and to the very first time you saw your son, because this is something that I don't think get highlighted a lot when it comes to fathers. We know the mother carries the child for 9 months, but the very first time you hold your son or your child, there's so many thoughts that's rolling through your head, and you're not verbalizing. You're standing there or you're sitting there and you're holding the child. You're not verbalizing it, but there's so many things. I can speak from my past experience, so I'm sure if you
Yeah,
can go back and remember, there's probably so many things rolling through your mind, like almost like lightning. If you can, bring us back to that moment, please.
man. You know what? There was so much that happened on that day. He came out and she had a C-section, so I got to hold him first. And I only laid him on her chest for a few moments, but I got to stand there and hold him. And like, I remember it's gotta be different for women, right? Because they have like that inside of them, so they get to feel it, right? And like I see it, you see a belly. I felt a belly. I felt him kick. Like it was real, but it really wasn't real until like, holy smokes, this screaming little thing is like in my hand, and he's tiny and he's so cute. And I felt overwhelmed with joy and excitement. I was so excited about the opportunity to guide this little human and to be in his experience. And I remember thinking about all the things we were going to do in our life and how I was going to get it all set up, and how I had this whole perfect image of what it was going to look like. Some of the things I've gotten to do, and a lot I haven't, but even through that, it's been exactly what I needed, and I think what he needed to get from the experience we were really destined to have, so I could go out here and do the work, and he could be the best version of himself at the same time. And I wrote an email to him. I actually haven't even ever read the email that I wrote to him, but I started his own email address. So my son's name at gmail.com. And it was there. And so I made it up and I sent him an email. He was laying on my chest and his mom was under, drugs or something and passed out. And so I was laying there in the sun in the winter window and holding him on my chest and letting him just, bask in the sun rays and the warmth on me. And we were cuddling, and I pulled out my phone and I sent him an email about how excited I was to be his dad and to have him here, and how glorious of a life we were going to have together, and how I couldn't wait to experience the opportunity of being a witness of his life and watching him take it on and make it something great. And ever since then, I've just been so focused on how do I help my son be the best version of himself. And usually it comes down to me finding the best version of myself in that moment to lead him with. And if I'm being the best, he's going to see what that looks like, really.
Wow. There might be a father that's listening that needs support. How can they contact, you through Kids Deserves Dads?
The easiest way is on the Facebook page, or and really, I'm moving over to YouTube. I've been working on my YouTube stuff, so hopefully in the next like week or so, I'll actually have much more YouTube content coming out and making a better place of that. But that's probably the best place to get a hold of me is on YouTube, and just to come on there and reach out to me. Kids Deserve Dads is the logo. It's the page name, and you can find the page there, and you can just send a message right to me that way, and I'll get it and I'll respond.
Yeah, man.
So, and I think about people for all kinds of stuff. So if you're going through like anything you're going through in a family course, I take those kind of calls to support families however they need.
Yeah, man. I want to thank you too because you allow me to have Cornell Smith, the fraternity coach, come on a
Ah,
couple of times, man. Awesome guy.
dude, he's the best. Isn't he the
Yeah,
greatest? I
yes,
mean, that dude
yes,
is fantastic.
yes.
I love that
I
guy,
mean,
man. He is so
yeah.
good. So good.
So,
And the guy's so knowledgeable, right? Like, I mean,
absolutely. Yes,
man, he's powerful. Like he
yes.
did not mess with Cornell Smith, man.
No, no. You two, man, in my eyes, you two are trailblazers. I want to thank you for doing what you do for yourself, your son, and other
Thank you.
gentlemen. And I'm telling you, man, right here, you'll always be the ultimate dad. You always will be, man. From
Mm,
this day forward, that's the name I have for you.
I love it, man. I love it. I will take that, and I've been working on a couple other things and other projects. When I get my project finished, I'll send it to you. But that goes along with it, no doubt. So, all
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it. Well, thank you for coming by,
right,
man.
sounds good.
We get together again soon.
All right, see you, Mark. Have a great day.
You too now. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye bye.